Hello, everyone, and welcome. Let's start with a prayer together. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great gurus, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Laidima Shaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. And we ask thy blessings on our class today, as we open ourselves to receive thee within our hearts, within our minds, within our souls. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll have a song sung by Swamiji, Swami Kriyanandaji, and then an excerpt from a talk on this topic of learning to trust God. Welcome again, everybody.
Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee, all our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share thy love. Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee, all our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our make us each a channel of thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share thy love.
And we wanted to beautify the farm, and so they had everybody together to pledge different amounts of money toward improving the farm area. $25 would buy a tree, and or something or other, a flower maybe, and $100 a tree. I don't remember how it went. But anyway, there was one thing they were asking for, which was $3,000 to improve the roads. And they were hoping that one of our Ananda businesses would come through. And I looked at it and I thought, well, we don't have any business that's going to come through on this one. So I thought, all right, I'll pledge it. I didn't have it. I didn't have any of it. But I said, I'll pledge it. I know that Divine Mother will take care of me and make it possible. So I put my name and reputation on the line and promised them $3,000. And hadn't any idea where it was going to come from. I didn't even worry about it. I just said, Divine Mother, it's your problem. You take care of it. But with love, I don't mean that I was just tossing it in her lap. I laid it very gently in her lap. And 2 weeks later, it was my birthday, and I came out of my room and saw an envelope under the front door. I hadn't talked about this thing to anybody. I just quietly, you want to bury your shame, if nothing else. And so I sort of kept it quiet. But I was still confident in my heart. Anyway, there was this envelope under the door, and I opened it up, and I saw a check in it for $3,000. And it was from somebody visiting the community. He said that his mother had died, and for some months he'd been wanting to give me a gift in memoriam of her, in memory of her, and for me to use it as I wanted to. So he didn't know it was my birthday. He didn't know that I'd made this promise. He didn't know the amount I had promised, and there was his check for $3,000, which of course went for the roads. Well, this is so wonderful in a way, and yet so common when you have that kind of faith in God, that you know He's going to take care of you. You know that He tests you. Sometimes He gives you things that you don't want at all. If you complain, He knows you're not ready for Him. If you just say, God, whatever you give me, that's fine, you discover that the very thing that looked complaint-worthy, turns out to have been the best thing possible for you. That the very thing that seemed worst was in fact His sort of joking way of giving you a real gift. You can't have a carping or complaining attitude. You have to have that sort of certainty that I'm living for you, and if you want me to spend my life in a dungeon, I don't care. I'm living for you. You have to give first. You have to make the effort of will. You sort of plain want it. So he didn't know it was my birthday. He didn't know that I'd made this promise. He didn't know the amount I had promised, and there was his check for $3,000, which of course went for the roads. Well, this is so wonderful in a way, and yet so common when you have that kind of faith in God, that you know He's going to take care of you. You know that He tests you. Sometimes He gives you things that you don't want at all. If you complain, He knows you're not ready for Him. If you just say, God, whatever you give me, that's fine, you discover that the very thing that looked complaint-worthy, turns out to have been the best thing possible for you. That the very thing that seemed worst was in fact His sort of joking way of giving you a real gift. You can't have a carping or complaining attitude. You have to have that sort of certainty that I'm living for you, and if you want me to spend my life in a dungeon, I don't care. I'm living for you. You have to give first. You have to make the effort of will to say that whatever I am and whatever I have belongs to you. But once you really make that effort of will, then you discover bit by bit that in fact it couldn't have been put in better hands. You give things to the bank, have faith in the bank, which is likely to fail. Why can't you put that kind of faith in God? Give it all to Him. It's no gift anyway. I mean, it's His anyway. But He doesn't let us see that. And when, with this delusion that it's ours, we say, no, I don't want any part of it. I just want to give it to you. I made this effort of will years ago. I remember a story. I had wanted very much to buy a harmonium. And I discovered through people in the Hollywood church that there was an Indian living in Los Angeles area who owned one. In those days, harmoniums, we had no contacts to import them from India. We had no way of knowing how to get harmoniums. And so it isn't like today when many of you have them. Nobody had them then. Master had brought some from India, and that's how we knew about it. But I found this Indian who had one, and so I bought it. And I was working on India Center at the time. It was 1951. And I couldn't help it. Every few minutes I'd stop work and go into the library that we were building and pull out the harmonium and sing another chant. And I was so thrilled. And I came home with this great, wonderful acquisition, and I saw Master getting into the elevator. And I said, "Oh, sir, look what I've got." Well, he saw my over-exuberance over a mere thing, and I guess he decided that he needed to teach me something. So he looked at it and opened it up and played, "Oh, how wonderful, I'm buying it." And I felt as if I'd lost a wife. I said, "Oh, no, sir, I'm giving it to you." And so he said, "Well, I'll so he took it. And for 2 days I felt this kind of thing, but I didn't for a moment change the direction of my will. I said, "No, I want him to have it. I don't want it." Just this little bit of attachment was nothing compared to my wish to help him if he wanted it. And then after 2 days, I got more or less calmed down about it and accepted it completely. And then I found out that he wanted to give it to me, and that he hadn't meant at all that he was buying it from me, he was buying it for me.
Welcome again, everyone. I'd like to start with a brief reading from the chapter from Autobiography, Two Penniless Boys in Vrindavan. And you know this story of Ananta, Master's brother, challenging him to see if Divine Mother will help him by sending him to Vrindavan with nothing, no money, and telling him to come back with having eaten all his meals and so forth and so on. It's very brief, but I like to read it. Master is saying to his brother, I accept the challenge. No hesitation was in my words or in my heart. Grateful memories flashed of the instant benevolence. My healing of deadly cholera through appeal to Lahiri Mahashaya's picture. The playful gift of the two kites on the Lahore roof with Uma. The opportune amulet amidst my discouragement. The decisive message through the unknown Benares Sadhu outside the compound of the Pandit's home. The of divine guidance which materialized my high school diploma and the ultimate boon, my living master from the midst of lifelong dreams. Never could I admit my philosophy unequal to any tussle on the world's harsh proving ground. What a fantastic story. I hope you will reread that. And I think we should all have our own lists of how Divine Mother has helped us, how Master has helped us, instead of how they haven't helped us. Make a list. Think of your whole life. Think of this past year. Think of today. You woke up, you're breathing, you're seeing, you're talking, you're walking, you're whatever it is. And think how God is always with you. And we put our faith in, as Swamiji said, the bank, my money, my jewels, my land, my car. I have faith my car will take me where I'm supposed to go and I won't get in an accident. We have faith in our jewels that are locked up in the locker. We have faith in other people. But how many people really, and devotees I'm meaning, disciples have deep faith that God is with them, deep faith in the masters. And we have to realize what's behind the friends, what's behind the surgery that we had, that we got well. Master had a statement, he would say, very interesting. He'd say, yeah, the doctors get all the credit, but it's really God's power. The doctor's only opening up whatever has to happen for God's power to flow, to heal you. So we have to realize that God is behind everything. We put God first. And I remember a song we used to sing in the church I was grown up in. He walks with me, he talks with me, he tells me I am his own. He lives because he lives in my heart. And as we continue, it's a continuous deep relationship that we're building with God and gurus, and they test us to make sure that we do have faith. We need to ask for their help, ask for their guidance, ask for their direction. Master said, Divine Mother is the nearest of the near, the dearest of the dear, closer than your own breath. And Lahiri Mahashaya Ji said, if you bring God into the summer of your life, meaning when things are good, people forget God. No, I'm just having a good vacation. I don't need to meditate. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. If you bring God into the summer, he'll be there in hard times. He'll be there in the winter. And in the beginning of the path, yes, I went through it as well. We gain faith. It's not you typically have faith from the beginning. The initial phases, you're starting to learn how to trust God. I remember my very first deep prayer, at least as an adult, after working and education and working and having money and everything. And I just knew something was missing. And I prayed all through the night and cried for help, for God. I didn't know God. I didn't really know much of anything, but I remember praying all through the night. The very next day, it was the very next day, Divine Mother showed her hand. Master came through a teacher, through a book first, Transcendental Meditation, TM. And I saw that in a grocery store, and something said, buy that book and learn how to meditate. I didn't know anything about meditation, gurus, karma, reincarnation, nothing. I bought it and I sat on the bench the same within a few minutes, and I looked down from where I was and someone was meditating. And they were a teacher of TM, and within a week, I learned how to meditate. Within a few months, or maybe it was weeks, that teacher and his mother gave me Autobiography of a Yogi that strengthened my faith that somebody's listening, somebody hears me. And I think I think people don't put out enough energy. And then I was guided to Ananda. How did I get guided? Master drew me to Ananda. I knew my family was somewhere. I knew where I was supposed to be. It wasn't where I was then, even though I was learning Master's lessons. And I got to Ananda, and then I learned the teachings. I learned the techniques. And my faith grew. And then Swamiji got me out serving right away. And I was serving at the centers in Palo Alto and San Francisco. I left my job. That took faith. I was working in Palo Alto. I said, I'm done with this. I just want to serve God. But that was a leap of faith that I left that big salary and I went to Master. And I called Swamiji. I said, I'm done. I just want to serve Master. And he says, okay, leave it. Go to San Francisco, serve there. We didn't get any salary there. He just got room and board. I went from a big salary to zero. Then Swamiji, after a couple of years, said, now I want you to go to Italy, go travel around Europe, teach, help to found Master's work there. That was on faith in God. We didn't have anything to start with. We didn't have donations. We didn't have donors. We didn't have money. But little by little, Divine Mother kept showing her hand. Master kept coming to us. And then after that was 7 years of that. Then Swamiji said, now I want you to go into Africa, teach people, help people. And I lived in a hut. There wasn't any phone. You couldn't even contact anybody. My goodness, people lack so much faith. I had the faith. Somehow Divine Mother will help. And there was no phone. As I said, there was a talking drum. People would go through the village banging on the drum. There's no water, no running water, no electricity, but people learned how to meditate. They learned energization. It was from faith. And in India here, we had the faith that Master would show us the way. We came with Swamiji, and all of you came, and now people are serving. Now we have 14 centers from starting at 1, and meditation groups and online and home study and all the books translated, Hindi Sangha and Marathi Sangha, and on through faith. Now, the other part of that is we had to do something to gain the faith. We had to work in cooperation with God. We couldn't just sit back on the couch. We had to put out an enormous amount of energy to draw the response from God. You have to open the door. And so Master said, the greater the will, greater the flow of energy, my own but God-given power. We have to ignite that power, and I will reason, I will act. Then you gain power, and the faith comes because you've done your part. And I hear so many people, nobody helped me, the Master never helped me. Well, it's a lie. He does help people. You have to help yourself. And first, I was remembering the story of Master even. he surely had faith. He was an avatar, but he said he tested Divine Mother. Divine Mother tests us. Do you want me or do you want the things? Are you going to cooperate with me? Are you going to put your hand in mine? Are we going to walk together? Are you going to ask me for guidance? Are you going to ask me for anything? Are you going to just go with what you know? Ask your friends, go to the bank examiner or whoever it is, the doctor. Talk to Divine Mother first. And so Master was getting Mount Washington, his headquarters. He said that it costs, I think, I can't remember the exact amount, $65,000, I believe it was. You can read in the New Path. And the disciple said, it's going to take you 20 years to get that money. And Master said, 20 years if you think 20 years, 3 years if you think 3 years. And he needed the money in 3 months. He said, 3 months if you think 3 months. And he put his will, his focus, his power, his effort into it. And he said, I was battling with Divine Mother. How are you going to give me that money? He was calling people, asking for loans, asking for donations. He didn't sit back, oh, come on, Divine Mother, give me the money. He worked for it. The very end, he needed $5,000 more. And he said his face, the Divine Mother turned his face on this list of people to Mrs. Trask. And he called Mrs. Trask. And she said, somebody just gave me the money back. I'll give it to you as a loan. And he said, don't be late. Please be on time. There were other people waiting. Mrs. Trask showed up and Master said, we had the money. The drama was over. And the place was ours. And what's wrong with the drama? I mean, everybody watches a drama on television all the time and they don't want any drama. I remember, and also Swamiji and founding Ananda, he would go every weekend from the up Grass Valley, Northern California, he'd go way down to a 3-hour drive or 4, just 3 hours basically, San Francisco to teach every weekend to make the money to pay for the land. Every weekend. He said, I had hoped that Divine Mother would help us in some other way, but she didn't. She didn't. So he didn't say she didn't help. He put his hand to the plow. Then he went and did classes, came back, paid some on the property, went back, paid, did it for months, if not years. And he said, because Divine Mother didn't make it easy for us, now this is the point, we grew. If she had made it easy, we wouldn't have been able to have the strength to build Ananda and to keep it going. And I remember one other beautiful story of Swamiji's where he said, and he was some years into Ananda, that he was to give a talk at Sunday Satsang. And he said he had a kidney attack, what do you call it? Kidney stone attack. And he said it was so painful, he couldn't even move. This isn't a remarkable story. What did he do? He didn't go to the doctor. You can go to the doctor as needed, but he said he prayed to Divine Mother. If you want me to give this talk, you're going to have to help me. You have to take this pain away. And he showed us, just here in India, he showed us what happened. He said, like this, that quickly, the pain went away. And I was able to go and give the talk. He said, I was in such a blissful state, I still couldn't really talk. But this was the proof of Divine Mother's presence. And sometimes we think she's not there because we have our own karma to work out. Master said outright disaster or misfortune that he would take away, but 50% Guru's helping us, 25% Divine Mother, 50% Divine Mother, 25 Guru. We have to do the 25%. And it may seem sometimes like St. Anthony, when a desert father, he lived there. Master said he lived to be 125 years old or something. He lived in the desert for 60, 70 years, a long time. And he was tested the whole time by Satan. Give up your belief. Don't have faith in God. God doesn't love you. And Swamiji said for himself too. And he said at a certain point, I didn't even know if Master still loved me. But he said, I didn't care. I loved him. And I was going to cling to him and love him forever, no matter what happened. And tests do come. And St. Anthony said he just kept calling to God and calling to Christ to help him from these tests and delusions. And finally, Satan said, if you don't give up God, I'm going to crack the tomb. I'm going to take everything away from you. And Anthony said he looked up and finally, in the 11th hour, sometimes it's the 11th hour, stop crying about it. The 11th hour, God comes and Christ appeared to Anthony. And Anthony said, Lord, why didn't you come before? I was in such pain and agony. And Anthony said, Jesus said to Anthony, Anthony, is the way Master says it. Anthony, I was just the same with you. And Master said, I want you to remember that. God is just the same with you. It's you who doesn't call on him, who don't attune to him, who don't ask him, who don't do your part. Anthony, and you put your name in there. I was just the same. If you develop and have that strength of faith in God and do your part, you will find he's always there. I've been on this path a long time, and I can't say that there was ever once when I said, God didn't help me. Guru wasn't there. Not one time in decades. I think you will feel the same. You put out the energy, do your part, and put your hand in Divine Mother's hand and Master's, and let them pull you through every delusion until you become one with them. God bless you. And I'll ask Nitendra to join me on the screen now.
Thank you so much, Dhyanaji. We have a few questions. Actually, you've already answered some of those. So I'll skip to the second one, Dhyanaji. It is easier for me to trust God when things are going well. But what can I do so that my trust does not shake in bad times as well?
You have to have a strong sadhana. I don't know if you all know this word, wimpy. Wimpy means weak, lifeless, lazy. You don't want to do anything. I mean, I just gave so many fabulous stories how Master worked to get things to happen. Swamiji worked for it. So you can't just hope, wish, put out a lifeless prayer, think something's going to happen. It doesn't happen that way. You have to put out an enormous amount of energy to make things successful. Look at Ananda, India. We don't sit on the couch and hope something happens. Look at you all in Gurgaon. Look at the people in Mumbai. Look at the people in Chennai. Look at the people in Delhi. I mean, people are really making it happen. And so you have to really put out everything you've got in that 25% to make it happen. And then God shows his hand, because we have our own karma. You can't expect they're going to take all your karma away. It's your karma. You created it. You got to get rid of it. And also in the sadhana, as you do kriya, you're burning away karma. You're getting more and more free. And I don't know if it's true, but at least as an affirmation, people go around all day disaffirming their problems and difficulties. I don't have any problems. It's all the way you look at it. Isn't it so? And so if you're affirming that didn't happen, this didn't happen, Master didn't come, Divine Mother didn't come, well, that's the life you're gonna lead. But if you say, wow, look what I have. I have all my gurus with me every day. I have Kriya, I have Hamsa, energization. Oh, I have all my guru buys. They'll pray for me anytime. I have the centers, I have online, I have home study, I have 150 books, I have 400 pieces of music. I mean, it goes on and on. Who has any energy or time to complain? That's the thing. If you cut out the complaining, the faith is there, isn't it? If your whole life is complaining, you don't have any faith in God. I would turn it around soon. If you can, and you'll live a much more glorious life. I have to add one very sweet story, if you don't mind. You heard of Swamiji's story when Divine Mother gives you something you didn't even ask for. And Swamiji said he wanted to have some Swiss chocolates. And his father was in Switzerland. Swamiji, this was way back in the 50s, I believe. Anyway, Swamiji said he had forgotten to ask his father to get the chocolates. And he thought, well, it's okay. No, it wasn't the 50s. It had to have been later than that. So anyway, Swamiji forgot about it. And then one day, a devotee came to one of his talks and gave him this box of chocolates. And she said, oh, I was thinking of you, and I saw this box of Swiss chocolates. I thought I would get it for you. And Swamiji said, how sweet of Divine Mother. It wasn't like he asked her to save his life. It was just a thought. And she answered that. Now add to that my own story, which I believe it's true. I don't know, but I really believe it's true. So I've just passed my 20th year anniversary being in India, as you know. And I have so many well-wishers. Thank you all. And so then I was in Bangalore last weekend doing programs, and I was staying in a hotel one night, which was gifted to me by some friends, Guru Bhais. So I go into my room, very beautiful room, and I look on the table, and there's this huge bouquet of red roses and a chocolate cake that says happy anniversary. Now, I've said nothing to anybody at the hotel. So I thought, oh, that's so sweet of my friends to get into the room and bring these gifts. So then I look over and there's a card that says, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Tiwari, we wish you a happy 23rd wedding anniversary. Who are they? You mean it's not for me? And so then I called the desk and I told them, they said, oh, we're so sorry, we're so sorry. Then later I saw the manager a couple hours. I said, that was in my room. And I said, I don't know what happened. He said, ma'am, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I said, but actually, I like the roses and the cake. He said, why don't you keep them, ma'am? And I told him it was my 20th year anniversary in India. He says, keep them, ma'am, and happy anniversary. And I don't know if it's true, but I believe it was Divine Mother. Just her little touch there to just say, I love you. Isn't it so sweet? Even if it wasn't, I want to believe that it was. And this is how it happens. Just these little things come and they're so touching and they're so sweet and they remind you how much God loves us. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Did you have another question?
No, Dhyanji, you had mostly covered them. So
Okay. God bless everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.